Welcome to Fort William Henry at Lake George, New York. My family has been going here almost once a year when I was a little girl, around June. We would camp on Schroon River at the next town over, and then once in a while we would go into Lake George itself. Sometimes we would visit the fort, and other times we just walked along in the town itself and visited the many shops that are in there. Now, Lake George is beautiful, as you can see. It is 32 miles long, up to 2.5 miles wide, and with depths reaching 200 feet. It's considered to be among the clearest and cleanest large lakes in the world. It was formed nearly 10,000 years ago by melting glaciers. Isn't it amazing? Absolutely stunning. Now, Lake George played a major part in the U.S. history. During the French and Indian War, major battles were fought right along the water, and they're memorialized at forts and museums. But before we go into the fort, I want to show you the steamboats. This is the Minne Ha Ha. It's one of the last steam paddle wheel ships in America. She's perfect for kids and families with tight schedules. She takes an hour-long cruise 6 times a day, along with a Friday night pirate adventure cruise. Oh, that's right up my alley. Now, there's a lot more information on the steam paddle boats, and I'll include a link in the descriptions. There's also 2 others that they run, which is the Mohican, which is the oldest continuously operated tour boat in America, as it was launched in 1908, and that has a variety of cruises. They also have a 190-foot long Lac du Saint-Sacrement, and I know I'm sorry for my French, but that is the largest cruise ship on the inland waters of New York State. It could also be pronounced Lac du Saint-Sacrement, which would be the English flat version. She offers 2 hours sightseeing, luncheon, dinner cruises, a champagne brunch on Sundays, and a lot of other information. Like I said, I'll put all that in the comments below and give you a link so that you can learn more. And maybe when I go back, I might actually get onto the ships themselves, and we can get a good little view and tour of what inside, and maybe even do the pirate adventure. Okay, let's get on to the fort itself. So right there on the shore is Fort William Henry Museum and Restored British Fort. It was built in 1755. The French and Indian War that lasted between 1755 and 1763 was the extension of the 7 Years' War in Europe between England and France. It involved people on 3 continents and the Caribbean, so it's considered by many to be the true First World War. This is about the building of Fort William Henry. It's basically a square enclosure surrounded by 30-foot thick walls filled with beach sand and surrounded by an outer dry moat. So one of the first places I went down to was the lower level, where they kept cells for a prison. So most prisoners were returned, but some were even sent on to European prisons, never to be heard from again. One man escaped and returned home 6 years later. I can't even imagine. So there's names chalked on the duty roster. They're the names of the men who were on duty August 9th, 1757, the day the fort fell. Existing muster rolls gave us names, hometowns, monthly salaries, how much money was owed, and wages that were due to them. If you lost your weapon, you had to pay for it. So this is original fireplace from 1755. As you'll see here in a second, it looks like it's crumbled in or filled in. But that was to help keep them warm, do any cooking that they needed in this area. So there were 4 barrack buildings, storehouses, there's a hospital, powder magazines, and several sheds with a central parade ground, which you can see here. So the northeast bastion here has a French projectile sever a pulley on one of the poles, and the English flag fell. One carpenter went to fix it, but had his head shot off with a ball. Yikes! Here's a good view. You can see right over the fence there of the cannon. Beautiful views, though, from this fort. Here's more of the cannons. And from this vantage point, you can see down into the central parade area. When you're walking along here, you truly get a feel of what it might have been like back then. There in this shack kind of lean-to thing on the right, you can see some reenactors. They're sitting there, or they're also tour guides dressed up in the time period dress. There are several displays throughout the fort. You'll see them inside some of the buildings to tell you what's going on. So right here is some watercraft. This one in particular is a dugout canoe from a tree trunk. It was used by Native Americans and early settlers. The one in the back was found in the waters of Lake George and dates back to the occupation of the fort, whereas the canoe in the front is a modern reproduction and it was made from the trunk of a birch tree. Pretty cool. So here's some more artifacts that have been found and put on display. There's some axe heads. There are several dioramas as well as those little informational pictures. And this one tells the siege of 1757, which was fictionalized in James Fenimore Cooper's book, The Last of the Mohicans. It's a worthwhile flick to see with Daniel Day-Lewis, Madeline Stowe, Russell Means, as well as the 1936 version with Randolph Scott, and there's many, many other versions. These are just more displays, including some that even had mortar fragments from back then. It's crazy what they can still find. So an account from one soldier's perspective they believe was an officer, but they don't know who it was exactly, from the day of the 1757 siege of Fort William Henry. So when you go, you can read more into it. I won't read the whole thing for you, but yeah. So I couldn't resist going down into the crypt. And this is where skeletal remains that are depicted are believed to be those of 5 men who were killed during the surrender of the fort in 1757. It goes into very great detail. It's about the find and the subsequent display and the analysis. Crazy, huh? So you can see the pictures there of they didn't leave the remains there. They put pictures there, so they felt it was disturbing, I think. You know, for people to actually see it, and disrespectful. You know, you want to give the human remains their due respect. But the grounds surrounding the fort are very lovely, of course, now. They've done a very nice job of restoring it. Cool cannon. It's just amazing to me that they still have a lot of these artifacts. Even all along the shore areas and different spots, you'll see these little placards that'll tell you something that might have happened, like this was about a sunken fleet. Like I said, I don't want to give everything away or read everything to you. A lot of it you should really experience it for yourself. Looks like a little pontoon boat. And you can actually go swimming in the lake too. It's just beautiful. It's so clear. Look how clear. Little fine pebbles. It's just so pretty. You can see lots of docks for people. So right there next to the fort is Around the World and Around the U.S. It's considered to be one of the oldest and most original miniature golf courses in the Lake George area. This miniature golf has the two sides. You can go around the world or you can go around the USA. It's consistently one of the best golf courses rated in the U.S. These courses are challenging, informative, and fun for the whole family. So the ice cream at the Pink Roof. Most mini golfs have awesome ice cream. This famous Pink Roof has been serving locals since 1970, complete with a bright pink roof and a huge selection of classic and modern ice cream choices. Oh my gosh, I loved coming here. Whenever we finished playing miniature golf, we always had to go get ice cream, and you'll find most of them do have that. But it's right there. You can see the lake. Everything's just right there next to each other. It's just amazing. Beautiful, beautiful view. But Around the World Golf is one of the oldest and most original miniature golf courses in the area. It's designed by Lake George local Harry Horn. This course was inspired by his travels around the world and the souvenirs, some bigger than most, such as the rickshaw, he decided to bring back home. So home being a picturesque location with stunning views of Lake George itself and the steamboats. There's even a travel itinerary for all visitors. Either they visit the landmarks around the world or embark on a journey or around the United States. Since its inception in 1963, each hole has been maintained to preserve the antique feel of a real miniature golf course while maintaining a lighthearted adaptation of popular landmarks. So some of them include the Taj Mahal, a giant sombrero, a life-size lobster for Maine, and a replica of the New York City subway. So when you go through them, you have you can guess just by looking at the pictures which states, like you saw the big peach for Georgia, there's the star for Texas, just a lot of different ones. It's fun. I enjoy a good mini golf course. If you want to see any of these in action, I hope to go back and play these, and we will definitely videotape them for you and make that into a separate video. I do have other golf courses that we have filmed. You don't see the whole thing, but I do show like a couple of different, one of the different holes, and then you can see how much fun it is. It's great for the family. I said my family's been going there for many years. I haven't gone here to this one in a long time though. I'm due to go back. But you can see all the different holes, and they're well maintained. Consider I've been going there since I was a little girl. Oh my gosh. Probably at least since, has to be in the 70s. So do check out my other videos for other courses. It looks like a bear playing a banjo. You can see another lumberjack back there. There's a totem. As you guys can tell, I like a good golf course. Thanks guys for coming along to Fort William Henry and a little tootle around the mini golf course and taking a peek at Lake George itself. Hope to see you guys in the next, and please feel free to subscribe and give us a thumbs up.